This is Paul McGann, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast.
The tangents as we continue all the way to episode 124 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. I know you two, and if I'm gone, I know what you would become, because I know who you really are. A junkie who solves crimes to get high, and the doctor who never came home from the war. Will you listen to me? Who you really are, it doesn't matter. It's all about the legend, the stories, the adventures. There's a last refuge for the desperate, the unloved, the persecuted. There's a final court of appeal for everyone. When life gets too strange, too impossible, too frightening, there is always one last hope. When all else fails, there are two men sitting arguing in a scruffy flat like they've always been there, and they always will. The best and wisest men I've ever known, the Baker Street Boys, Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week by going to the virtual table and see who joined us this week.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City. This is Sally from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello.
Hello.
We're very ish.
Very. I had to think about where I came in the line of intros.
You're
like,
first
the
this
first one.
time.
I was thinking. I can do that.
Mitch will probably jump in here. We're recording, and it's usually about the time she eats dinner, so with her family. And Brittany's sick, unfortunately, so we're a little ish this week, but that's okay.
But hope you're all doing well, listeners.
Yes. So.
But,
all right. So we're gonna jump straight into it. A little bit more news this week than we did last week, so starting with some 10 o'clock news, because yeah, that's just the way it rolls. So Miguel Ferrer, who by name you may not know who he is, he's one of those faces, one of those people, it's like you see him in things, you're like, oh yeah, that guy.
Yep. It's on TV tropes, it's listed, hey, it's that face.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, pretty much. So he passed away, unfortunately, cancer. A very nasty look right now that you can't see. So
and the sad thing is, cancer kind of doesn't care.
No, it doesn't.
As well, yeah.
Yeah. As we learned last year, cancer does not care.
Yeah.
But we're not bitter. Most people know him if you watch Twin Peaks when it was on, and apparently they did film everything for the revival, return, whatever you want to call it, when it comes back later this year. He did reprise his role, so we will see him for the Twin Peaks fans, and also he's actually part of the Marvel universe too. He was the vice president in Iron Man 3.
Okay, and then for the procedural fans besides Twin Peaks, he was the Chief M.E. Garrett Macy on NBC's Crossing Jordan, and also most recently he was on NCIS Los Angeles as his last name was Granger. So, yep, that's where I kind of remember him from.
Yeah, I remember him actually from Crossing Jordan. My mom loved Crossing Jordan when it was on, so that's what I know him best from. So, yeah, it sucks.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Unfortunately, that's the nature of this thing that we do, I guess. So, unfortunately, people are going to pass. So, obviously, our thoughts and the well wishes to his family and all that. So, moving on to happier stuff. Convention announcements. It's getting to that time of year where conventions are getting ready to happen, and they're making guest announcements, and it makes us very happy and very sad for our wallets all at the same time.
Yeah, that's okay. Convention. You've seen that comic. That little comic strip of, the girl is like, going through, only buying the necessities, I only need a few things here. Mm-hmm. Then she goes to the bookstore and she's like, throwing money everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
That could also, be for conventions, because you save money all year, and then when the conventions come around, it's like, I got money to burn.
Yeah, it's like you go grocery shopping. I'm like, I'm gonna get the cheapest toothpaste. I'm gonna get the generic toilet paper. Then you get to convention. It's like $50 for an autograph. Sold.
That's cheap. I can afford that, no problem. Then you get home and you're just like, oh, my poor bank account.
Then you're all like, yes. Why did I buy the cheap toilet paper?
Yeah, that too. But the convention guest announcements, FanX happening in March. We are getting Sean Maguire, who, among other things, was Robin Hood in Once Upon a Time, who is apparently coming back once the season starts up again. So, yay! And then also, if you've been watching Timeless, he showed up in an episode where he plays Ian Fleming, the author of the James Bond novels, which he did a fabulous job as that. I was watching that episode and I'm like, ooh, Sean Maguire's in this, because I had the cast come up at the beginning. You're like, I wonder who he plays, and then Ian Fleming is there, and I'm like, that's him. It was a fun. I haven't caught up entirely with that show, but I am quite enjoying it. So
it gets better.
Yes, I am loving it. But yeah, so there's that. They had teased. The con organizers had teased, like, ooh, we're gonna have a male guest from Once Upon a Time, and I was like, Colin, but I'll take Sean. I like Sean. Got my hopes up. Yep. And then also at the Hall of Heroes Comic-Con, Mystery Science Theater 3000. They've been announced as guest,
and they're going to do a live their thing that they do. I don't know what they actually call it. The live commentary.
It's called MST3K.
Yeah.
That's
that thing they
do.
So yeah, it's gonna be one of the guys and one of the robots, but they don't know which robot they're bringing yet. So, but they're gonna do a live commentary of a movie that they haven't done yet. So, and they don't know yet what movie it's going to be. So, but that's going to be part of the convention festivities. So that's going to be exciting. Oh, wow. So, and then Indiana Comic-Con. It's like I'm excited. I'm struggling with this one. So I was already struggling with going, and then they made this announcement. I'm like, yeah. So Indiana Comic-Con, they just announced Sean Astin. So Samwise Gamgee himself, Rudy. Pick your fandom.
He was in the Librarians.
He was in the Librarians this most
season as well.
So yeah, they've announced him, and they already announced like several weeks ago, or like a month ago, or however long ago it was, Charlie Cox, who plays Daredevil in the Netflix Marvel series. And
they are tempting you, aren't they?
They are, and it's just because I went to Indiana Comic-Con a couple years ago because they had Jenna Coleman, so I got to see Jenna. Carrie Fisher was there. I saw Carrie Fisher at a distance, so yay. But overall, it was exciting to meet Jenna and to see Carrie Fisher at a distance and meet a couple of Disney princesses. But other than that, the con, I just did not like it. I did not like the way that they organized things as far as their scheduling. I didn't like the way that they laid stuff out. Hearing from other people who have experience with them, behind the scenes, they have treated people I know very badly. So I don't have a lot of respect for this particular con. So then when they announce guests that I really want to meet, it's very hard because it's like, I really want to meet that person, but at the same time, I don't want to give these people my money.
That's how they get you.
I know. It's like, if I could get in and just give the celebrity my money, that would be fine. But if I have to buy a badge, it means I'm giving the convention money, and I don't want to give them my money. So we'll see. The convention's in March. We'll see March or April, something like that. It's still quite a bit of ways. So we'll see who else they announce, and depending on who it is and what days they'll be there, I might go on like just Sunday and not go the entire weekend. Just go for the one day, get the celebrities
I guess you just buy a one-day ticket, and that's not giving them as much of your money as...
Exactly. So we'll see. We'll see who else they announce between now and then. So, but it's like, no. First world problems. Seriously. It is first world problems.
It's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have. So, Sean doesn't do a lot of conventions is the thing. At least, especially not in Indiana. So, it's like, I got those Doctor Who autographs. I should start collecting the Lord of the Rings.
I think he was at, I don't remember if it was FanX or Comic-Con. They run together for me so much. But he came here not too long ago.
Yeah.
I'd have to look it up and when exactly. But yeah, he was here, and overwhelmingly positive reactions from people who did get to see him. I didn't.
Yeah.
Just because so many things to do, and there's not enough time to do it all. Yeah. But people loved his panel and everything. So
I know people who have met him through. Occasionally, he will run the Walt Disney World Marathon. And I know people that have met him being there at Marathon weekend, and he's super, super nice. So, because he's Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah, he talks a lot about that. Well, he's just a genial individual on his own. Like, even if he wasn't Lord of the Rings probably brought him into the visibility of a lot more people. And even though he was in Rudy all those years ago, and Goonies.
Yeah.
But he's a pretty cool guy from what I can tell.
Right. And I really want to meet Charlie Cox, too, and especially my Jessica Jones cosplay. Daredevil and Jessica Jones need to meet! My Jessica Jones. Obviously, Daredevil and Jessica Jones have met now that they're filming Defenders, but my Jessica Jones needs to meet Daredevil. But anyway, I'll stop ranting.
There's another convention that you seem to like better anyway that's on the list.
Yes, exactly. So, Indie PopCon... I shared their post on our Facebook page, but they are going to start making guest announcements actually tomorrow as of us recording this, because it's Monday evening. So tomorrow, I forget what time, they're going to start making announcements, so that's always exciting. Indie PopCon is always, I get excited because they go more outside the box when it comes to guests. They get... occasionally, very recognizable actors and voiceover, Tara Strong and Sylvester McCoy and all that. But then, they get the, like YouTubers and, video game folks. So I'm excited to see who they announce in their first batch of announcements. So, and then one more convention-related announcement, which I didn't add on here, just because it happened late last evening. I got a message from Patrick, who we had on. He is the head honcho over at Time Lord Expo, which is happening this October. And he messaged me, and I am now in charge of the cosplay contest. I've been asked to be essentially the director of the cosplay contest. So they put up the info. I've made up. I've got the forms for people to fill out. So they will send an email. I will give them the form, they will send it back, and get them registered. And then I'm also going to be a judge at the cosplay contest. So they've got a cosplay guest of honor coming in that will be a judge, and one of the celebrities will also be a judge, who we do not know.
Cool.
So,
Ooh, that could be.
could be interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say fun, intimidating, exciting, nerve-wracking. I don't know.
Yeah. If I had to guess on who they would most likely would be, this is pure speculation. Patrick did not give any indication whatsoever who it may be, because I'm sure they're going to wait until a little closer to ask. But if I had to guess, I would think it's probably going to be Caitlin, would be my guess. But, who knows? Maybe it'll be Paul McGann. I don't know.
And you'll be all like, hi.
Or Sylvester
Or at least I would
McCoy.
be.
Could you see me trying to explain to Sylvester McCoy how to judge a cosplay contest? That would be hilarious.
Oh my gosh, Mr. McCoy judging a cosplay contest. I want to see it now. Maybe, even just as a funny video or something that somebody puts together.
You just give him whatever number you want.
I could see someone doing a whole big spoof with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's like the Five-ish Doctors reboot.
Yes, there's this sequel.
There's a sequel. Who it will be, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just speculating. Pure speculation. We've got months to go before the event, but I'm excited. So, but if anyone listening maybe didn't see the announcement on their Facebook page, and you want to enter, the email that you're going to contact, that's our email. I figured I'd make it easy and just have it be the email for the podcast, because that's one I have access to easily enough. So yeah, email me specifically, say, hey, I want to enter. I will send you the form. You will send it back, and bada bing, bada boom, you're entered. So,
Huzzah.
yeah, so that's exciting. I'm excited. Patrick is all like, would you like to be in charge of the cosplay contest? I'm like, okay.
You're like, sure. Sounds fun.
So I have plenty of time between now and then to get myself emotionally ready for judging people again.
Judging you. Always judging you.
Judging, yes. I'm excited to see what people come up with as far as cosplays. So I'd imagine most of them will be Doctor Who related, but you never know. We're not keeping it Doctor Who only, though. Although even some other like mashups, probably have some Doctor Who. I don't know. Now I got.
Well, Deadpool goes with everything.
Exactly, Deadpool does go with everything. All right.
Anyway,
ideas.
On to the next
ideas.
bit of news.
Yeah. So award season.
Well, dubious award season in this case is the Razzies have announced their nominations. I have a weird relationship with the Razzies, just because I'm like, okay, I get the joke.
Yeah.
I understand what the joke is. Why are we really celebrating the worst movies? And like, does anybody actually show up to collect their Razzie awards?
Yeah. Some celebrities, they love showing up to collect their Razzies and make a speech and all that. So some of it they really love it. So it's mostly it's tongue in cheek is really what it is.
Well, yeah.
So, I
don't know.
It's like a roast. You kind of gotta think of it as a celebrity roast. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Except you're doing more than one.
Let's see.
So,
yeah, I was kind of looking over the list. The only ones that would really that fall in fandom sort of thing would be like Worst Picture, Batman v Superman, Independence Day Resurgence, maybe Zoolander. I mean, I can understand why Gods of Egypt got nominated because that looked like a dog.
The special effects were good, but the rest of it,
Well, yeah, I mean, the specs look great, but Jared and I, when we go to the movies and we see that trailer come up, and we would just both just kind of cringe the whole time, and it's just like, why is this being made? But yeah. So we'll put the link in there. And there's worst actor, worst actress, worst supporting actor and actress.
Pretty much all your stereotypical.
Yeah, it's just instead of
categories,
best, it's worst.
Yeah, and they announced those nominations today because the Oscar nominations will be announced tomorrow. The Razzies take place the night before the Academy Awards. So.
Okay, that makes sense. Although I have to laugh at this category: worst prequel, remake, ripoff, or sequel. I'm just like, that's an actual category, huh?
Yeah, well.
Although, do I want to know what 50 Shades of Black is?
No.
Probably not. Okay. I will skip that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of this I'm like, I haven't. I guess I've heard of Batman v Superman and some of these others, but some of these I'm just like, I've never even heard of this.
Well, that's probably for a reason.
I barely realized Zoolander had even come out and in theaters. So I was just like, oh yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, check out the Razzie Award nominations if you feel so inclined.
Yep.
And then
the People's Choice Awards, which are some of our favorite awards because it actually includes stuff we care about. Because the people vote on it instead of a bunch of uppity ups.
Yeah.
So,
I have to say one thing about these.
Yeah.
Because the Screen Junkies did their screenies, which Screen Junkies are the ones that do honest trailers and stuff. But they also did their little thing with the screenies, and it's they just make up a bunch of categories and give arbitrary awards out. And one of the categories they gave out was Who Asked for This was the category, and they list off a bunch of nominations. And the winner, quote unquote, winner of it was Fuller House. And the guy who does the thing is like, who asked for this stupid, unfunny remake of a stupid, unfunny 90s sitcom? And I just wanted to say in the comments, well, they just won a People's Choice Award, and they've been renewed for a third season by Netflix, so I'm pretty sure somebody's asking for it.
Yes.
Dippity doo head. I was not pleased with that one. Anyway, yes, Fuller House won. What was the category? It was like favorite premium TV show or comedy or something.
Yeah. So, like, again, you're pretty typical, categories. Favorite movie was Finding Dory.
Yeah.
Favorite actor, Tom Hanks. Deadpool won favorite action movie. Robert Downey Jr. won favorite action movie actor. So,
Outlander cleaned up in the
sci-fi
category for
although it was
show premium, and then favorite sci-fi actor and actress.
And I thought it was funny when Outlander put a Facebook video up of Sam and Katrina, talking about, we won the People's Choice. They were filming. It's like, sorry, we couldn't be there. And they were just saying, like, sorry, Stranger Things. And, because that's one of the ones they beat out for it. So it was sort of like, it was cute. They were adorable. And the whole time they were just like, oh, we're so sorry we can't be there. I mean, we're filming, but we wish we could be there because it's the People's Choice and it's really cool and everything. So they were adorable.
Yeah. The nice thing is the People's Choice Award is really it is the people vote.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes,
we actually get a say in who wins, and even who gets nominated. So
yeah. That's why you look at these categories like, hey, I watched that show. I've heard of that show.
Mm-hmm.
All these different things. So it's not like, you can watch the Golden Globes and like, I have no idea what this even is.
I don't know who you are or what that thing is you're in, but okay. Yep. award season, and like I said, the Academy Award nominations will be announced tomorrow. I'm keeping my fingers and toes crossed for Deadpool.
Come on, Deadpool! That would be so
at least
funny.
a nomination. He may not win anything, but I'm hoping for at least a nomination of some sort, and not just
at least for Ryan Reynolds. Come on.
Yeah. So at least for Ryan, or maybe screenplay, or best picture would be awesome.
It would totally send the Academy sprawling on their backsides if Deadpool was even nominated, let alone win anything. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, nomination, that's half the battle right there. Is like, break that glass ceiling, Deadpool. Come on.
You can do it.
You can do it. Speaking of movies that the Academy probably won't give any awards to,
but who cares? Because they suck.
Yeah. Well, we say that.
I can hear Glenn, Sean, and Keith like having a heart attack when the more I disparage the Academy. Sorry, guys. No, not sorry. Not sorry at all.
So we officially have our title for Star Wars Episode 8.
This just dropped today.
It did. So advantage to recording a little late. They tend to do this. So it's like we try to record Sunday evenings, and then for whatever reason we have to wait, and the next thing you know, big announcement from somewhere. So
Monday night's becoming kind of our default thing, which is fine.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Star Wars
Episode 8, title,
The Last Jedi. Very epic.
And everybody's freaking out because they're like, yes, everyone's freaking out because they're like, do they mean Jedi in the plural? Or do they mean
Jedi in the singular?
Does this mean... Yes.
That's the thing. It could be either.
Does this mean Luke's going to die? What's going to happen? It's like, I don't know. Wait until the movie comes out.
Yeah. We only got 11 months to go. Of course, now people are like, "Oh, we got the title. How soon till we get a trailer?" Like,
well,
my best
probably
guess
wouldn't be
is
more than a teaser.
Yeah, we see it's going to be a teaser, not a full-on trailer. Of course, these days they say teaser, and it's like a 2-minute, thing.
Well, like more like 2 seconds where they show an image and then coming soon or something.
Yeah,
some image that's obviously Star Wars, but it's like a little blip.
Yeah. It's just
and then we're all like drooling over it.
Yeah. More than likely, at the earliest, I would suspect that we will get some sort of teaser at the earliest. Probably the Super Bowl would be my guess.
Yep.
That would be a good time to drop a teaser. Is Super Bowl Sunday. So, which
that's
considering who's playing in the Super Bowl this year, I'm only going to watch for the commercials and the halftime show anyway. So,
I have no with the Atlanta Falcons, so I'm going to cheer for them because I hate the Patriots with all my soul, but I have to be nice because my mother-in-law likes them.
Yeah.
Amen. Fist bump.
I was pulling for the Packers to pull it out, and I was just like, dang it.
Yeah.
But I'll cheer for the Falcons. I don't have a problem with them.
Me too.
So, Star Wars. And of course the internet's just freaking out. So all we got was a picture with the font and the name and stars in the background. Of course it's all in red. So which is people are like, "Oh my god, it's red."
So was Revenge of the Sith, so was Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Quasi.
So people are all like, "Well, those were the third in the trilogy. This is only the second. What does that mean?" It means analyzing just this movie poster with the title until the first teaser drops. So.
Don't read too much into it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Speaking of reading into things, until you get. Speaking of trailers, I forgot to.
And this one's actually coming up sooner.
Yeah.
Or wait, you got another?
Yeah. Well, I forgot to add the Logan one too, which I've watched several times.
Yes.
Which the new Logan one.
Oh yeah.
You
That one was quite good.
Yeah, which gives you a lot more insight into the little girl and her abilities, and it's like, yeah. And then they announced like Logan trailer dropped last week, and then this over the weekend or whatever they officially announced that Logan was going to be rated R. I'm like, really? I think I figured that out, and then this was going to be rated R. But thanks for the confirmation.
Like you had a
If the violence and the
red
F-bombs
trailer come out, that's pretty much for me.
Yeah. When you release a trailer with a red band,
Yeah, that wasn't
pretty sure it's going to be rated R. So, but anyway. But then the other trailer that dropped. Yeah. The other trailer that dropped was the Power Rangers, which, unlike what we're used to, where they drop a trailer and then we get another trailer, which is pretty much the same footage that we've already seen, this is almost a completely different trailer. There's like a couple of scenes that we got in the first one, but there's a lot of new footage in this trailer. So we get...
It's like we actually how Zordon's gonna work out. Mm-hmm. You know what that looks like. Alpha 5. I'm like I watched Black Nerd Comedy's analysis of the trailer after that, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, Alpha looks so much better when you look at, and even like, and it's like he's purposely snarky and not just accidental comic relief, which I'm like, okay, I can get behind this because this is a totally new Power Rangers, completely different than the old school stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I expect there to be something just with it. You know, it's still Power Rangers. It's like it looks so good.
Yeah. Seeing
the whole thing looks amazing.
Yeah. Seeing stuff in action makes me feel better because like all we got was, you know, a static image of Alpha 5. We got the toy got released so we could see what it looks like in toy form. You know, we got a glimpse of Goldar in static form. It's like seeing him actually moving in the trailer. It's like, oh yes, I feel much better about this now.
Yeah, the toys are never an indication. Should never be an indication of what something is actually going to look like on the screen, because obviously you can't make a toy unless you're the people buying this stuff to spend more money on it.
Yeah.
It's never going to look as good as on the screen.
Yeah.
Now, if your toy does look better than what's on the screen, that might be cause for concern, but that's a different topic. Anyway, the trailer looks awesome. It's less of, you know, because the first trailer was kind of like, oh, here are the kids in their, you know, civilian sort of thing. And then this one is more of how they become superheroes and what they're going to be doing that way. So that's cool. Oh, everybody's freaking out about the bit about Trini's mom telling her to pee in the cup.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, well, you know, if she's really that much of a trouble, her mom probably would have. Just, I don't know, maybe. I'm speculating. That's, you know, nurses work. Maybe she's a single mom, and nurses work odd hours and don't get to see their kids a lot. I'm not saying that's an excuse for her delinquent, but I don't know. Maybe it informs on her character a little bit. But I just thought that was funny. Like I laughed. I laughed so hard at that bit. I think I actually had to pause the video while I calmed down because I thought it was so hilarious. I have a weird sense of humor, guys.
It is funny. It's like, pee in a cup. Okay. Although, you know, if your kid was sitting around the kitchen table like, oh yeah, I mean, my friends last night, we found an alien spaceship and now we're superheroes, I'd probably wonder if they were on something too, so.
Yeah, and, you know, and that, where it's in the trailer, that little bit really conveys her, and they have no reason season 2.
Yeah.
She's done crap like this before. Well, maybe not like this per se, but
Yeah.
she's told lies, in trouble.
Yeah.
But I'm still just laughing at the fact that these kids, these versions of the Power Rangers are, they're juvenile delinquents, where in the original they were like honor roll students and did stuff for charity, and they were like
goody two shoes.
good upstanding citizens, and these kids are in detention and have ankle monitors and have to take drug tests on the regular.
Yeah.
Like, wow, if you really wanted to make sure we knew this was not not your mother's Power Rangers, you didn't. But I'm still looking forward to this. It does look really good.
Yeah. No.
Yes. This is true.
So I know it's not going to hold up to, the original TV series, because it's not. This is a reboot. It's its own thing. I'm not going to be like, oh, it ruined my childhood. No, my childhood is what my childhood was. I have fond memories of it. So,
yeah. I still have a DVD of the 95 movie. I can go back and watch that anytime I want. But this is something new and exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yay! Power Rangers! Yeah. I'm excited! Go. Anyway. Moving on to, I guess, this week's topic, which is Sherlock. So Sherlock came back with a vengeance, I guess, for 3 whole weeks, and boom, it's gone again.
Yeah. Sherlock is blink and you miss it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Or binge watch for an afternoon and then it's over. Yeah. However you choose to watch it, but
and still blink.
Still blink, yeah.
So Sherlock season.
How do we start this?
4. So I guess I should call it series 4, because you can't call it a season when it's only 3 episodes. Even if they are an hour and a half long, it's still 4.5 hours of TV, which in the grand scheme of things, not a whole lot. So 3 episodes. Sherlock is wont to do very long episodes, hour and a half. They're essentially 3 mini movies. So there's the 6 Thatchers, and the line detective, and the final problem, something like that. I'm
trying to decide how best to frame my reaction to this series of Sherlock.
Yeah, the thing is with Sherlock is if anybody's listening and has not watched any Sherlock yet, first off, where have you been? Second of all, if you are not, how do I put this nicely? If you are someone who doesn't like to think while watching TV, Sherlock is not for you. You don't have to be a genius like Sherlock, but it's really something you need to watch, and it needs to have your undivided attention.
Yeah, it's not something you can have like as background noise while you're
you can't multitask.
Or not feeling well.
Yeah,
that's too.
Yeah,
maybe that's coloring some of my perception of it, because I have not been feeling well for the better part of the last 2 months.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And rule number 1, Moffat lies.
Yes, Moffat lies. Moffat is a
and Gatiss. Moffat and Mark Gatiss. They both are big fat liars and apparently psychopaths, and on top of it. So.
Master and apprentice much?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 was destroyed. The master for the apprentice. No. I didn't have a problem with the first 2 episodes quite as much. The second episode I kind of struggled to pay attention to, just because I was just like, okay, I don't get where you're going. I mean, the first one I was sort of spoiled on, but that's because I didn't get to watch it until a day or two after it aired. So I knew what was going to happen, and we're going to spoil stuff from here on out. So if you haven't seen it, don't want to be spoiled, go on. But if you don't care about spoilers, you can keep listening. Mm-hmm. So I knew that Mary was going to die. I knew she was going to be killed, and I was sad, and I was just like, because I like her, kind of in that the trio sort of a thing, and mm-hmm. they had a baby, and it was so cute, and their whole little family dynamic was adorable, while they're also off solving crimes and trying to figure this out. I think what my biggest, I guess, complaint, for lack of a better word, is that this season was more about the internal strife with Sherlock and Watson and Mary to an extent, and not so much about what was going on outside those main characters. And I think that got compounded in the last episode, where there was no comic relief in that very last episode.
Oh, no.
None. And I'm used to watching, when I watch Sherlock, I'm used to the snark and the, kind of off the cuff comments that, Sherlock comes up with, and even Watson to a degree. I'm looking for, I want something smart and snappy, but you need the pressure valve. You need to release the pressure valve, as it were. And there was no humor in that episode, and it just,
I would argue, for the most part, yes. I would argue the Moriarty's entrance was pretty entertaining in the final episode. So.
I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose Moriarty there, but I think just the why he was there, and the manipulation of the sister, who I can't for the life of me remember her name now, and it almost doesn't matter. It just was overshadowed by the complete sadism of the sister. I was just like, Stephen Moffat or Mark Gatiss' head. Like, how are you two not absolutely crazy if this is... And maybe that's the thing about writers. They come out with stuff like this so they don't go crazy. I don't know. I was just like, I'll put it this way. I have a friend who her 3-year-old son loves Sherlock. Like, he doesn't quite get it, but he loves it. He's got the deerstalker cap. He thinks Watson and Sherlock are the greatest. I mean, he's seen all the episodes over and over, and she's been like, she's like, I've memorized the whole thing. I'm tired of it. So after I watched this last episode, 3 years old, mind you, this kid. After I watched the last episode, my first thought was, I need to ask her if her son has watched this. And if not, maybe warn her of what is coming, because I don't think I would allow a 3-year-old to watch this. I mean,
especially
I'm not saying
the first and last episode. Holy cow!
Yeah, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, nightmares much. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying it always has to be family friendly. It's just like, that's the tone they've set, kind of, and it just. It went off for me, and I kind of don't care if it doesn't come back. If this was it, then okay, we're done. But if it is going to come back, get back to the buddy cop sort of feel of the show, because that was horror movie territory.
Yeah.
No, I have a theory to pose. The disc that Mary left. Could this all have been a ploy, and Mary is somehow still alive?
I wondered that, and then they pulled the thing where with Watson and Ghost Mary, and I'm just like,
True.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't think so. So just because Moffat and Gatiss have said that pretty definitively that Mary is dead, because they, as much as they enjoyed Mary and how good she was being the third person in that relationship, I mean, she's obviously very, very smart and understood the way both men thought, and sometimes
like she could take over for them and they could retire.
Yeah. But they've said that that really Mary needed to go so that it could go back to just being Sherlock and Watson. She was becoming a third wheel, and they needed to get rid of her. And actually, Mary does die. I'm using air quotes in the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle books, although it's not very definitive. It just kind of explains that she went away, and they just kind of assume that she died. So it is kind of keeping it canon to the books, although obviously in the TV series they made it a bit more definitive by actually killing her on screen. And I think Mary probably knew, even trying to get away from her past, that it may catch up with her and it may ultimately lead to her death at some point, and that's why she made those discs and probably arranged with someone to have them delivered. So very, Doc Brown leaving a letter from Marty McFly type thing.
Yep.
I don't think she's coming back unless it's in either flashbacks or Ghost Mary, although, with Watson, hopefully unless he's got to find a new therapist. So hopefully with real therapy, he'll eventually be able to let Ghost Mary go. Although Sherlock obviously seems to realize that that's what Watson is using as a coping mechanism, and like, seeing a ghost of your dead wife, okay.
And it is maybe worth mentioning, because it has been in the news, so I don't feel bad about saying this. Amanda Abington and Martin Freeman have officially split up.
Yeah, they made the announcement not long before Sherlock came back, but actually they broke up right before they started filming.
I did not.
They broke
know
up
that.
several months ago and then went to filming. And I saw an interview with Amanda, and she said, "Yeah, it was a little awkward at first, but we're professionals and we go in and do our job. But it was a little awkward to be there filming with essentially her ex-husband at that point." So.
And I'm not saying that has anything to do with the the storytelling. Like you said, they're professional actors. They could still do it, but it's just like, I don't know. I kind of wonder a little bit if that had to do with, well, no, because the scripts would have already been finished. But I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. So, but whatever. I'm not saying real life writes the plot, but art does seem to imitate life a little bit in a certain way. Just a smidge. So, but of course, them killing off Mary. Thank goodness I gave up Tumblr forever ago, but even just the other social medias, I tell you, this particular set of stories, especially the finale, has divided a lot of people. Some people really loved it. Some people really hated it because they didn't like the fact that the finale was more about the people and less about solving a mystery, which. It's like you can, even with shows like, something like Law and Order, where, they solve a crime and hopefully get the bad guy and send him off to jail, but you also want to know eventually about the people. You learn about the cops and the attorneys and the detectives and all that. So Sherlock is the same thing. It's like, you solve the mystery, but it's about the people. It's the relationship between Sherlock and Watson and Mycroft and Mrs. Hudson and Mary and all that. So,
and Lestrade.
Yeah, and Lestrade and all that. But them killing off Mary, there is a certain subsection of the Sherlock fandom who was, after that first episode aired, was very, very, very hopeful that they would get John Locke. That would become canon, and we're very, very upset that it did not happen.
Well, some people are very, very impatient on these things.
Yeah, well, and I think some people are, I understand. We've done a show on shipping, and I get it. People ship things that are not canon and will probably never be canon, and that's fine. But there are just some people that are very distraught that this is not canon and doesn't seem like it's going to become canon, at least as far as the TV is concerned.
To those,
it's just like, it's your thing, good for you, but at the same time, I'm going to be like, bless your heart. I'm sorry, but it's not
to those people. To those people, I say, go to fanfiction.net.
Yeah.
And canonize it to your little heart's content.
Yeah. Go to Tumblr. Yeah.
I don't know. I get very peeved when people try to push creators into doing what they want, what their headcanon is. It's just kind of like, let people do their thing, and if it comes to pass in the show, great. If not, you can do it yourself.
Exactly. There's just on certain social medias I've seen, just even now after a couple weeks after the finale ended, and the people are just still so upset. I'm like, okay, calm down. It'll be okay. So, but based on what we've seen, it's a pipe dream. I honestly think if Sherlock does come back, I don't think it's going to happen. John Watson and Sherlock Holmes have a very close relationship. Watson is, one of the most important people in Sherlock's life, but it's not going to be a romantic relationship. Yeah,
Sherlock really doesn't relate to people on that level. I've noticed, like his, like in the little blurb that we had at the beginning of the episode. That was from Mary's, one of Mary's messages. Yeah. She said, he's a junkie who solves crimes to get high, and that basically that encapsulates everything Sherlock does. Mm-hmm. Whether it's Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock, or Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock, or the original, whatever version of Sherlock I'm going to talk about. He is detached from reality. Or from society, I guess I should say, more than anybody else, and that's what makes him so, like, he doesn't get people.
Yeah,
he gets situations and deductions and things. He only Watson can kind of relate to him, and he tolerates Watson, it seems like, and is even friends with him. But I don't ever feel like Sherlock can. Is the ability to do that, and that's part of his character, and has been since the beginning.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, well, it based on what we saw in the finale, though, Sherlock was not always that way. That's the thing. As a little kid, he played. He had friends, and he played with. He had friends. He played with Mycroft and apparently their sister that we didn't know existed, but we'll get to that in a second. Sherlock at one point was quote unquote normal, but stuff happened in his life.
Kills his best friend, and
yeah.
I wonder if that's where all that started.
Well, and Mycroft, that's what Mycroft said is, after that time, Sherlock just, he shut himself off and didn't want to be close to people. But I think Sherlock Holmes is capable of caring for other people. I don't. He cares. He cares. He just doesn't know how to relate to them. Exactly.
I guess I should have phrased it differently.
I think he's also very, probably there's a part of him that's afraid to show that vulnerable side of him. It's very easy to act like you're the smartest person in the room and you're better than everyone else. But to show a vulnerable side, therefore, probably in his mind makes him weak and therefore susceptible to someone manipulating him, whether it be Mycroft or, Moriarty or, Euros or, some random psycho, whoever, criminal.
Psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, like that's... Yeah. Like he prides himself on being able to keep people safe. Like and part of that, I guess, is he has to at least show that he doesn't care, even though sometimes that slips. Like with the bit with Molly.
Yeah.
In the last episode, where I don't think he really decided he loved her. He just wanted her to say it because he didn't want to be the cause of her death.
Yeah. The way that Benedict played that scene, though, is, Molly was like, no, you have to say it, and he really didn't want to, but then he said it, and then he said it again, and you could almost see in his face that something, I think, kind of clicked that, yes, he's saying it so that Molly will say it back to save her life, but I think that in a way, I think Sherlock actually does love Molly. I don't think it's in the same way that Molly loves him, where Molly, I think, has romantic feelings for Sherlock. It's probably more of a brother-sister Sherlock has for Molly. But you can almost see it in his face where he says it, and then he says it again with a bit more conviction. And obviously it's enough that Molly says it back. That, Sherlock is capable of love. He can't show it, whether he doesn't want to or he just doesn't know how or what. So, and we have Euros to thank for that, apparently. This whole thing with Euros, and we find out the fact that, we had Moriarty, and supposedly, this whole game that Moriarty played in the first, 2 seasons. And then, here in this season, or at the end of last season, we get that Did You Miss Me? And obviously we had the Christmas special, but that's kind of its own thing. It seems like Moriarty's been playing this, long game and set up a whole bunch of stuff after he died, but then we find out that Moriarty's game is actually playing Euros's game. He's actually playing the game on Euros's behalf.
So. And Mycroft was the one smart enough to give them 5 minutes alone, unsupervised.
Yeah.
Good job, Mycroft.
Yeah. I do have to say, though...
Being another genius, you can be so stupid.
Yeah.
Well, and Mycroft's sitting there like, oh, I have a situation under control, but we're going to give her treats. And I'm just like, no! Don't do that!
Yeah.
Mycroft, no, you do not have the situation under control.
Yeah.
Like at what point do you just lock her up, in a straitjacket, and throw her at the bottom of some forsaken pit, and maybe she gets a bowl of gruel lowered down to her once a day? Seriously, this I know we're all about treating prisoners humanely, but not this one.
Yeah. It's kind of like, with Mycroft, where he's like, I'm gonna give her a present. It's like screaming at the person that decides to go in the basement in the slasher movie. Like, no, don't do that. That's the worst thing you could do. And then, Moriarty shows up. They have this scene where this helicopter comes in and Moriarty comes out, and it's not till several minutes in that they show that it was 5 years ago.
Right.
So,
To Queens, I Want to Break Free.
I know, it's so good. Oh.
I was just like, oh.
It's just a short amount of time that we get to see Moriarty again. It's like, oh, Andrew Scott, I love you.
No.
You're so
he does make the most of it.
He does.
Were you guys thinking, before they revealed that it was actually a sister, that it was the female secretary was actually Moriarty in a very well done disguise? Because I thought that's the way they were going at first. They dropped the show. Nope, they got a sister.
Yeah, I wondered that, but when I'm trying to remember, when did they mention that they had a sister?
They didn't.
And Sherlock
it's just
was like,
at one point,
Mycroft
said
the tail end of the second episode.
Yeah, the second episode they mentioned
the reveal.
Your sister or something, and I was like,
well, she revealed herself to Watson at the end of the second episode, but before that, all we'd ever had a hint was Mycroft said something at one point, said, you know what happened to the other one?
Right.
And that's all we had to go on, and people just assumed that it was another brother.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they made it a sister instead, turns it on its head. And the whole, everything that happened in the second episode, The Lying Detective, because they'd set up this whole thing about this drug that makes people forget things in short-term memory, and the daughter didn't remember meeting Sherlock, and I thought she didn't remember Sherlock because she had been drugged. That maybe she had been drugged again and therefore forgot the entire encounter. That's where I was going. So once again, you can't assume anything with this show. That's the thing. You cannot make any assumptions because chances are you're completely wrong.
You're thinking they're going right, and they turned left.
Yeah. So when she, was taking off the wig and,
Then the
pulls out
glasses.
the glasses and everything, and was talking to Watson, and I'm like, oh crap, it's not a brother, it's a sister.
Yeah,
And
that was
Kevin's for Mrs. Hudson showing up.
Oh, can we give some props?
Episode.
Let's give some props to Mrs. Hudson in that second episode.
Oh yes, let's do
that.
that.
One of her best.
And her telling
she was so
off
good.
Mycroft.
Oh yeah.
That was beautiful because Mycroft this whole season has just been insufferable. Like usually, I kind of just like, oh haha, Mycroft's being a dork again, and he's just got to stick up his where. Mm-hmm. And this season, I'm just kind of like, okay, can I just no, just you need to go away. And
Mycroft was very lucky that Mrs. Hudson didn't have Sherlock's gun in her hand.
Yeah.
Yes. Because she would have used it. I have no doubt about this.
And I don't think Lestrade would have pressed charges on her either.
No, probably not.
You bet a lord.
It's like he would have given her, the police department's award for service to the community or something. Whatever that would be over on their side. Yeah, whatever they would call it. Oh goodness.
Yeah, Hudson has a nice little vehicle from her former husband, or late husband.
Yeah.
Yes.
Driving a Bentley. Like, I'm the widow of an ex-drug dealer. I own property in London. Of course I've got money. Of course this is my car. Oh, Mrs. Hudson. It's like, she's so wonderful. She hasn't put up with anyone's crap, though.
Oh, no.
Yeah. She's not, exceedingly brilliant like Sherlock or Mary or Mycroft, but she's smart. She's got street smarts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She doesn't suffer fools. That's for
sure. No, she doesn't. Like when they had Mycroft come in, she's like, "Would you like some tea?" He's like, "Yes, please." Like, he's right over there.
Yeah. You can serve yourself. I'll serve everybody else.
Oh, Mrs. Hudson.
Her response should have been, "You know where the kettle is."
Yeah. It's always nice when they can use her, especially in the as being the voice of reason and
yes,
not suffering fools as it were. Especially that being the middle episode too, because it's like. The first episode was kind of bringing you back in, like Sherlock hasn't been on for a while. This is where we're at. We've got the birth of John and Mary's baby.
Little Rosie.
Yep.
I did love the reveal of Rosie's name, of where that all came from, and where what Mary was. Had been doing.
Yeah.
And I love the one little scene in the beginning where Sherlock is explaining to Rosie that she throws the rattle one more time. It's not going to be hers.
Why they'd think leaving a baby with Sherlock is beyond me, but hey.
Yeah. Needs must, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. So. She's adorable. So it'd be interesting if it comes back to see, yes, they killed off Mary, but essentially they left John a single father now. So that unless, the baby just becomes something that we see every now and then to kind of remind us, oh yeah, she's still alive. Then, but I would think being a parent now, and especially a single parent, would change the dynamic some as well. So, which I guess, it'll depend if Sherlock comes back. So the way they left it, the way they left
Sherlock
things
a little bit too, with the promise, with his guilt from what happened to Mary, with her saving him. I think he'd probably do anything for baby Rosie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Oh yeah,
making sure that she stays safe.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. So it's just the way they left things, if Sherlock doesn't come back, for the most part, they tied everything up fairly neatly in a nice little bow. So,
and I'm okay with it either way.
Yeah.
If this is the end, that's great. If you're going to come back, hey, I'll take it.
Yeah. So if it comes back, I'll watch it. If it doesn't, not the end of the world. So, yeah. Obviously, they left. We could come back and see what happened to what's his face in the lying detective.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the doctor.
Yeah, whether his relationship with the Queen does get him off scot-free, or if they lock him up for being a complete psycho, or what?
Yeah.
So,
Who knows?
So I mean, they could come back to that, or it could be something completely different. I mean, there's still a lot of stories that they could pull from that could, be potentially episodes. I mean, they reference a lot of stuff.
They even referenced Irene Adler.
Yeah.
With text.
Yeah. Sherlock's not safe
Like
for work.
they could totally revisit her.
Yeah.
I think I did see one interview, and I can't remember if it was with Stephen Moffat or Mark Gatiss. Might have been Moffat. Where he said, like, well, now that, a lot of the personal stuff's kind of been wrapped up now, they could get, if they wanted to come back, they could get back to, solving crimes and that kind of thing. So I'm like, that would be nice to have them go back to doing that again. Mm-hmm. But it all depends on, Benedict Cumberbatch, keeps getting more and more jobs in Hollywood, and Martin Freeman's kind of on that trajectory. So it's like,
yeah,
it would be a while before they got them both back again.
Yeah, I would say because the Avengers: Infinity War, literally just started filming today, so Benedict's going to be part of that as Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And Black Panther just started filming, and Martin Freeman's character that was in Civil War is going to be Black Panther.
Oh,
so they're both currently filming for Marvel. So
and then on top of that, all the Oscar bait movies that they tend to film too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who knows?
Their stars are a little busy, so it's gonna if we get a Series 5, we're looking at probably a good year, maybe 2. So unless they squeeze like another Christmas special in there as a one-off.
I take offshoot Christmas specials.
Yeah.
That one was fun. I did enjoy the Christmas special, even because even though it was in Victorian England, and it's like, what in the world? How did this work? And then they explained it. I'm like, but that was still fun. Yeah. So Sherlock Series 4, kind of a mixed bag. Some good, some
frustrating.
WTF, frustration.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a PG way to say that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. After I watched the third episode, I was kind of telling Jared what happened. He hadn't watched it, but I was just sort of explaining like why I was so frustrated and everything. And he's one thing he pointed out was that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was basically the inventor of the buddy cop genre.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, and that's what Sherlock is. And it's like he's like, sounds like they need to get back to that. And I'm just like, yes, I agree. And so if it does come back, I want more of that.
Yeah.
The buddy cop sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
But that's my wish. If I don't get it, I can still go back and watch the Sign of Three again because I love that episode.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the nice thing is, this was only series 4, but because the episodes are so long, I mean, you could go back and rewatch everything, and it would take you a little bit of time. So,
yeah.
Plus, now you could, with everything, because by the time we get to the finale of this particular series, it references stuff all the way back to the pilots. You could go and watch everything and watch how it all connects together and see if you can find all the little Easter eggs and all the little clues and everything. So it's like a game of I Spy or something.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm not as irate as I probably sounded at the beginning, but it was like I said, it was frustrating. But anyway,
Yep.
Sherlock, hooray!
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else we want to talk about Sherlock, or think we got it all?
I think so.
Okay. Well, I guess we will open up the floor, as it were, to our listeners. If you would like to chime in about your thoughts on Sherlock, if we missed something, or if you want to support one of our theories or vent, whatever you feel like doing. If you loved it and feel like we were unfair, which it happens, go ahead and send us some feedback. Our email address is fiveishfangirls@gmail.com, and that's also the aforementioned cosplay contest. If you need to get in touch with Rachel for anything to do with that. Correct, Rachel? So email that address, put in the subject line that it's about the cosplay contest so we can catch it. So there's that. That's how you get in contact with us. And you can also visit our website at the5ishfangirls.com. And there you will find links to all of our social media. The best bet to get us is Facebook, because we're always posting news and various and sundry geeky things that we hope our listeners will enjoy. And internet and Tumblr and Instagram. Instagram, we get a lot of interaction there as well. We do have a Pinterest board, kind of been neglected as of late. We need to figure out how to fix that. And then also we're on YouTube, where you can listen to the podcast. You can also listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. And then just want to bring attention to our Patreon account. As always, we are very grateful for our Patreon supporters. Without you, we'd just be talking to ourselves, which we would do, but it's a lot more fun to share it with other people, and we're glad that you think so as well, because you're supporting us with your dollars, or whatever currency you happen to use in your locale. If you're a new listener, or if you wanted to support us on Patreon, just haven't done it, you are more than welcome to do so. The link is at our website there, and you can also support us by shopping through our Amazon store, also on our website. If you're shopping on Amazon for whatever reason, if you go through our affiliate link on our website, we get a small cut of that. You don't pay anything extra. You get what you're shopping for, and you support the podcast. Everyone wins, and happiness and rainbows for everybody. So just keep an eye on things we've got going.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for listening. We love it when we get to put out a new episode and and people like what we do. I hope they like what we do.
Yeah. They do. I think so.
They do.
Yeah.
I'm a little insecure sometimes. What can I say?
Yeah. Yeah, that's all right. It's I think with the feedback, especially for podcasts, is just kind of one of those weird things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, you can send us messages and let us know what you think, but I don't know if people just don't think about it because they tend to listen to podcasts, while they're driving the car, so it's not really appropriate to be sending in a message. So
yeah. I have done that. I've been listening in the car. I'm like, oh, when I get home, I need to send in feedback and say such and such, and then I get home and I forget.
Yep.
So it's okay. We're just glad you're listening.
Yep. We know you're there. So warm fuzzies.
Warm fuzzies all around.
Warm fuzzies all around.
We're big fans of the warm fuzzies.
Yes. If warm fuzzies were currency, we'd all be super rich.
Yep. Alrighty then.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I guess with that, we shall sign off for this week.
Alright, well this is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Good night, everyone. You have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.